me, it's really how things get done in an organisation. It's a small group of behaviours that are observable, that you can see and you can hear. So another important question is, what are the warning signs that an organisation needs to embark on a culture change programme? Well, I suppose there's a couple of areas, but the two that strike me is one around engagement. How engaged are your colleagues? And if people are less engaged, then I think that's an opportunity for some culture change. And on the other obvious area is talent development and talent retention. So if you're losing top talent from your organisation, now's a good time to think around, have you got the culture you need to support your business? So I often get asked around whose responsibility is it to initiate culture change? And for me, it's really the wrong question, because it assumes that change is some type of linear process that you go from A to Z, and change isn't like that. So change is happening anyway in your organisation. Change is inevitable, but progress is not. So the key thing is, what is the change that you want to happen, and to make sure you put in place some really small set of behaviours that will make that change happen. You're an organisation and you've decided you want to have culture change. What are the first steps you need to consider? So start by agreeing a small set of behaviours at a really granular level, and start straight away. Change does not have to be a long drawn out process. Look for that change and look for where it's happening and find ways to have stories around it and communicate it, and then model and reinforce it and recognise and reward it. So how long should it take to implement a culture change programme? For me, you should be looking to make some real change in 3 to 6 months. Anything more than that, and actually you're doing something wrong. So in 3 to 6 months, you should be looking at pockets of change where it's happening, find those pockets and communicate them. For me, the best way is to see where stories are popping up and actually change is happening. But it's really fragile, the initial change. So it's like green shoots. You've got to really nurture them and water them and protect them. So do that and nurture and find ways to talk about those changes. If I was a leader, just one piece of advice above all else: agreeing a small set of easily defined behaviours, find ways to model them and to reinforce them and reward them. So how do I see culture change programmes adapting and changing over the next decade? Well, I actually think we'll look back over the last decade and be really disappointed in the traditional top-down approaches to culture change that just haven't worked. I think what we'll see much more of in the future, in the next decade, is small groups of champions making change happen virally. These are really, really highly networked people that will make change happen, and change will happen anyway. For you as a leader, it just needs to make sure it's the change you want it to be.